I wonder though, man. We're all sort of fans of documentary style content.
Yeah.
And every single time I watch the Warriors play, good, bad, or indifferent, and I'll be straight honest with you, maybe I'm weird. Last night was one of my favorite wins of the year. And I know that the last minute was like CYO level, hot mess basketball.
Can we inbound it to our own team?
I mean,
once.
Hot mess basketball, but I didn't care because I was so inspired by the fourth quarter up until that point to watch. Like, we don't get this in the regular season in the NBA. We don't get this kind of urgency and drama in February in the NBA where guys are like, we've got to win tonight. And we're down 3 of our best players. And they were playing so damn hard, Dibs. Clay was inspiring last night. DiVincenzo.
Shots from the corner.
I mean, ridiculous.
What the hell is that, Clay?
It's called luck, is what that is.
That's almost impossible to do, by the way.
Totally.
Bank a shot from...
Got Lacob out of his chair. Did you see that?
Seriously.
Lacob was like, I don't know what's happening. We might win.
He hits the top corner of the backboard, and somehow it goes in?
Yeah, that's called not on purpose, is what that's called.
Yeah.
But anyway...
It's a make-or-miss league, Mark.
Indeed it is. And the Warriors pulled one out, and I was like, that is what we want to see. Like, we understand all of the problems that you're going through. But damn it, go fight. Go guru speech, right? You got to get out there and be tough. I mean, and they did, and I was like,
tired of getting pushed around.
Thank you. So I loved that win last night, even though they looked like a bunch of kindergartners in the final minute of the game.
Yeah.
But every game, Dibs, I'm like, what the hell's going on behind the scenes? What's going on out there? And last night, that was a question, and I grant you, I knew when I asked it. I'm like, this is not fair. This is not fair. But did you really need to wait 2 years for Clay to play all the games? He looks fine. 3 games in 4 nights. And yes, you could respond to, well, maybe he wouldn't look fine if we hadn't done that. All fair. But it's like, man, he could have used you, man. And so that's what I loved. Because Klay Thompson this week has struck that chord. I can be your temporary NBA 1, and I will play all the games and all the minutes, and I will do this because this team needs me to do this right now. And that's what I loved.
Best 2 months of his career, I'm being told. And
statistically?
Yes.
Wow.
And thank you, Bob Fitzgerald on NBC Sports Bay Area for that nugget. But in terms of his shooting percentage, his points per game, all of the metrics, these are the 2 best months of his career. And yes, I know what you're saying about the back-to-backs and the fact that Rick Celebrini slow played him in the medical staff and all the rest of it, but they obviously have data, or data, depending on which way you like to go,
either one,
that we don't have. And so if they felt like it was until now where he could actually do this, then go crazy, because Klay Thompson right now is playing unbelievable basketball, and you mix in a healthy dose of DiVincenzo.
Love him.
And last night, Mark, in that fourth quarter, you watched Dante. He didn't take over the game, but you needed about 4 or 5 different plays. And the plays that he made, and by the way, Kevon freaking Looney with the putbacks and the defense and all the rest of it. This team was fun. That was a very fun win. You're right.
I think what everyone's been waiting for is, and the classic way to do this in the NBA is, when are they going to flip the switch? Well, you get to a point where that almost bothers people because you're like, I don't think there's a switch. Like, you're not a dominant basketball team right now, and that's not a rip. You're missing 3 of your 4 best players. So, like, yeah, we get it. You're not dominant right now. I don't even know if you're effective. I'm not even sure if we can use the word good. I don't know exactly what this team is night to night and quarter to quarter. But what a fan is waiting for, and what we get so little of in the NBA, are regular season games where it appears the team is like pounding the table. Let's go. Let's play hard. Let's give everything we've got to this moment. Because actually, last night's game, I don't know if people really gave credit to how important and pivotal that game was. I know they're the 7 seed versus the 9 seed now, and that can go right back the other way if you lose tomorrow night. So it's not all that definitive, but man, it sure changes things in a positive direction when you have two of the teams that are both sitting at 500 and everybody's separated by 2 games. Like winning one of those games is like winning 2 games. And so it was very, very important. And all you want to see as a fan is, can you go out and mirror that in a regular season game? The Warriors are one of the chief offenders where it's very rare that you feel as a fan like, man, they are screaming after this game in February. And I felt that in the fourth quarter, and I loved it. I loved it. The NBA felt urgent yesterday.
Well, it feels urgent the rest of the way in the Western Conference in terms of, you know, what we talked about as far as the seeding, because the Warriors right now are sitting, a game and a half out of the 4 seed, but they're also a game and a half above Portland, their next opponent, in the 11 seed. So for the Western Conference, this is going to be March Madness coming up here in a couple of days when we actually get to March. It's going to be like that for all these teams in the West outside of San Antonio and Houston. And I guess Denver doesn't really have that same urgency because they're 5.5 up as far as being the 1 seed, and Denver and Memphis are going to clinch very soon. Sacramento closing in on a first division title in a generation virtually. So there's still a lot to play for many teams, but as far as the West, from Phoenix all the way down to Oklahoma City, it's 4 games separating 10 teams.
Yep.
So in terms of that, we are going to actually see a lot of meaningful, intense, sort of passionate basketball in the association.
Well, the Clippers lose last night. And by the way, I'd like to use the Dallas Mavericks briefly as an example of why we should stop all putting the Phoenix Suns into the NBA Finals. Just because they've acquired a player that we know really well and who happens to be really, really good. What does that actually mean? What does it all add up to? I think it's hysterical, quite frankly. Hysterical that the Phoenix Suns are the betting favorite to win the Western Conference. They've played a total of, let me count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You need a minute?
6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, right. 0 games together. Continuity in the NBA matters. You don't gel like that. Want an example? The Mavericks have lost 4 of their last 5 games. Oh, who's not healthy? Oh, sorry. They're all healthy. Remember? Kyrie and Luka. What the hell's the world going to do now to stop Kyrie and Luka? Yeah, not much.
Well, you know what happened yesterday, right?
What happened?
The Lakers.
Yeah, the
happened.
Lakers.
Don't sleep on the Lakers. And are you still asleep on the Lakers? Because I know, and this is where I want to take a shot at Spadoni. Because Spadoni, early in that game, Spadoni buried his own team. And
well, did you see the way they shot the basketball yesterday?
They were rough.
Didn't bury them. I said I liked the effort.
Yeah, and you were being sarcastic.
Where's the lie?
Good job, good effort. Yes.
It was sarcasm, and you know it, Spadoni. You're better than that. And then you came all the way back around and said, oh, all you people thought I was being sarcastic.
See?
You
Jared
were being
Vanderbilt,
sarcastic.
great effort.
Vanderbilt's interesting. And look, this has been my...
He's a fraud, and he had his kid in a Warrior jersey.
Not
That's
Vanderbilt.
all you need
Vanderbilt's
to know
not a
about.
fraud.
Okay, so real
Spadoni.
quick on Benny wearing the Curry jersey. So Jade, the missus, she's like, hey, yeah, I got Buy Nothing, by the way. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this app, but it's like people around your neighborhood just giving away stuff for free.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we have this Warriors Steph Curry jersey to give away, right? And Jade's like, I'm going to get it for the game. I was like, and she got it. I was like, okay. I was like, at that point, I can't say he can't wear it.
Right.
Because if I say that, she's going to be mad at me and very sad. So it's like, yes, he has to wear it at this point.
You live here. You should raise your son as a Steph Curry fan.
I like
yes,
Steph.
You
That's
should.
No, he's not going to do that.
No,
Yes,
I'm
you
not going to
should.
do that. If that was a Warriors-Lakers game, he would be wearing his
No,
LeBron
listen,
jersey.
I raised Bay Area sports fans in L.A., so I'm not against what
There
you're
you
saying,
go.
but Steph different.
Yeah,
No,
it's fine.
Steph's different.
Not when you're a Laker fan. You don't, and again, I'm not
When
going to
you're
disparage a
4,
2.5-year-old.
how
He's
old Benny's
2.5.
2?
He's coming up on
Yeah,
30.
Also, Lakers and Warriors aren't really rivals.
Oh, yes, they are,
really
Joe.
kind of
Yes,
not.
they are.
No,
They've never really
I'm with
been
Joe
rivals.
on this.
Yes, they are rivals. For
Not-
those of us who
not
went to
like-
games in the 80s and it was all Laker fans and the pomposity of the Lakers.
Well, that's true no matter who they're playing.
It's
That's
like
just
saying the
Lakers.
Giants and the Dodgers aren't rivals.
Oh, God, the Giants and Dodgers and the Lakers and Warriors have zero in common as a
They have
rivalry.
a lot in common
The
in terms of
Giants-Dodger
Northern
rivalry
California, Southern California.
You know this.
As a Warrior fan, the hatred for the Lakers is not equal to the Dodgers, but it's in the same ballpark.
But the Lakers fans
different.
do not reciprocate the hatred.
That's two totally
it doesn't
different
matter
things.
if you reciprocate it or not.
You can hate, of course it does. Then that's like saying the Padres and Dodgers are the same as rivals as the Giants and Dodgers. Like a rivalry.
The Dodgers don't care about the Padres.
Exactly.
But
So
the
it's-
Padres care about the Dodgers.
Right, so
San
that's not
Diego
a-
hates Los Angeles.
So that's not a rivalry. That's one fan base
Whatever
that hates
you
the
want
other
to call
one.
it. It's,
Yeah, we
the
hate
bottom
the
line
Lakers.
is it's a level of hatred. So
yeah, it's a hatred. It's not a rivalry that is traditionally like others. And in fact, even in recent years, Warrior fans have been way more triggered by other teams than the Lakers, partially because the Lakers have been irrelevant in the last couple of years.
always triggered by the Laker
But
fans.
Houston has been a team that's bothered Warrior fans much more than the Lakers.
Houston's a mosquito.
Well, they are now.
You
but
swat them off you.
when they had
Houston
a-
has never taken down the Warriors, ever.
No, but they were moments away from doing it, and then they missed 78 threes in a
James
row.
Harden fell down
Yeah.
facing a double
Yeah.
team. They're a mosquito.
You know what I'm talking about. But anyway,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd look at the Western Conference, and yes, the Lakers, who shot 17% from three-point range yesterday, are interesting defensively. They're different. I don't know if they're truly going to go on a run. I will say this.
Are you still sleeping on them, or has the alarm clock
No, I'm
gone
totally
off?
asleep on it.
Okay, still asleep.
Like the alarm went off.
And you hit snooze?
I opened one eye, and I'm like, no,
Okay.
I'm not getting out of bed
That's
yet.
good to know.
I will say
Game
this.
out of the 10 seed.
I will say this. Yeah, who isn't? So,
Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and Houston.
yeah. No, Oklahoma City is a half game behind the Lakers. So
Game
they're
and a half
right
out
there.
of the 10 seed.
They're right there. So, anyway, point being is I look at that Western Conference, and if I'm the league office, oh, yeah, I would like the play-in tournament to dust to settle, and the two teams that get added to the top six are the Lakers and the Warriors. That's exactly what I would want. And if-
Utah, Minnesota, Pelicans, all out.
Goodbye.
I'm with you.
And if-
Portland,
and if
OKC,
I'm
exactly.
Denver and Memphis, I don't like that at all.
Right.
I don't want that kind of championship pedigree coming at
No.
me in round one when I've got a bunch of stars who, by the way, have never won Bubkiss. I don't want that. So I'll grant you that. However, how that dust's all going to settle, I don't know. And I don't even know if the Suns and the Clippers and the Mavericks, with all their fancy schmancy acquisitions, is it going to work? Because they've never played together. Continuity matters in the NBA to a very, very high level. And so use the Mavericks as a cautionary tale. I'm not saying that the Suns won't work. I'm saying we don't know yet if they will. And the last time Kevin Durant went to a team and put a roster together where everyone was like, damn, they going to run this league. What happened? They never even won a playoff series. So there's a lot of dust still to settle here.
No doubt.
And they've got to play basketball before I'm going to crown them anything.
If you look between Memphis and OKC, the 2 seed and the 13 seed, if you just look at the last 10 games, none of those teams is better than 6-4. None of those teams is worse than 4-6. So to your point,
That's crazy.
if between Memphis and OKC,
Yep.
over the last 10, they all are one game above or one game below 500. So we could have the same conversation in 10 games, and the standings may look exactly the same because even our beloved Warriors, winners of 2 straight at home, and they're going to be favored over Portland, and we're all thinking, you know what? You're going to beat the Blazers, and now you're going to be the 6th seed, and here we go. You're heading for the 4, and you're going to go back-to-back. The Warriors can go out and lay an egg. Portland can come out, and Dame Lillard could put up 71 and beat Golden State. All these teams are all so mediocre, you can't trust any of them.
No, if the standings are the same 10 games from now, I think that would be good news for the Warriors. If they're still sitting in the 7 seed 10 games from now with what they've got coming up after this week, like we said, remember there's that 6-game stretch that in theory, we don't know this, but I sort of had in my mind that 6-game stretch that Steph was going to miss.
Coming out of the break.
Coming out of the break. Well, they're 2-1 so far. So for some people, the goal was 3-3.
Yeah.
I was hopeful of 4-2. Because A, you get Steph back, therefore you're a better team, maybe Andrew also. But B, the stretch that starts Sunday in LA against the Lakers is very daunting. It's very, very daunting. it goes Lakers, and then at OKC, at Memphis, home for Milwaukee and Phoenix, back out on the road for Clippers, Hawks, Memphis, Houston, Dallas. There's a couple in there that you feel like, okay, we'd have a good shot at it, but it's very road heavy and very playoff team heavy, and so it's going to be really hard. So
that road trip, by the way, Mark, is 5 games and 8 nights, too.
Yep.
So it's not, and I know Clay's now playing back-to-backs, but Draymond Green's still out with the knee contusion. Wiggins, we don't know about his off-court issues, and Steph Curry, even if he is back, is he going to play all 5 of those 8?
I don't know.
Or 5 games and 8 nights?
Only one back-to-back on that 5-game
right, but that's
trip.
a lot of games.
It's a lot of games.
And a lot of games and a lot of travel.
So if they can go 2-1 this week, I would feel elated. If they can go 2 and they're all home games, and the Warriors are very, very good at home, even though they don't always look so fancy. Last night was not a looker, but it was a win.
Man.
If you can go 2-1 this week.
That game was like good personality.
In terms of, you'll love him.
Exactly.
Just sit with him for an hour, and you'll get along so well. I promise.
That was that one. Yeah.
The week this week is Portland tomorrow night, and then a back-to-back with the Clippers and the Pelicans Thursday and Friday. And I'd sign up for 2-1 right now. I'd sign up for 4-2 on that stretch, and then hope that Sunday in LA, Steph Curry plays basketball.
It's interesting because I think that 2-1 right now is the bare minimum, because Portland tomorrow is interesting. You're going to have a little bit of rest. Portland coming in. Dame Lillard off a 71-point game. You should beat Portland. The Clippers, I still think, are a bad matchup.
But I think you're leaving out the whole Steph, Andrew, and Draymond out. That roster.
And we don't know if Andrew's going to be out.
We don't.
And we don't know if Draymond's going to be out.
I mean, he's headed for an MRI. So,
right. But he was close to playing last night.
Right. I get my point is if when those 3 guys are out, that roster that goes out on the floor, I have a hard time putting should on any game unless it's like
Portland's
Houston.
no good.
Well, they're better than Houston and San Antonio.
I'm not talking about Houston and San Antonio. Those are absolute wins.
Is Portland no good? I mean, Portland has almost got the same record as the team that you had to squeeze a win out against last night.
Yeah, Portland's not very good. Team. Portland's got Dame Lillard and a bunch of question marks, in my opinion.
They're 29 and 31. They're right there in this mix.
Right, 12 and 17 on the road. The Warriors are the 3rd best team in the West at home. Yeah, but that's a win at home. This team is different at home.
I know, but they're not there.
No, but it doesn't matter.
The team is good at home.
Last night,
but the players are not playing.
Home. That's a game you don't win on the road. But for some reason, this team, and we always talk about role players play better at home, and you played better at home. You're 24-7 at home, even though Steph in, Steph out. Clay plays, he doesn't play. Wiggins has missed a bunch of games. This team at home is a different animal. So I look at the next 3. You should beat Portland. The Clipper game is difficult. I think the Clippers are better than you. And New Orleans is a team without Zion. Yeah. New Orleans is a team that you should beat at home.
Can't figure
I think 2-1 is where you should be after these next 3.
And I would take it. And that is presupposing that this roster is down to the studs with Clay and Poole, and then people like DiVincenzo and Looney playing huge roles.